go. Oh, okay. I got it. All right. Got a tune. Where's my tuner? Ack. Never have a tuner when I need one. It's like, where's Waldo? Where's my tuner? Well, I just have to use my phone. Phones have tuners, you know. Hey, Bob, what's going on? Wow. Hey, Bruce. Sorry I'm running late. I'm putting out fires. I got a sinus infection too, so I'm like not feeling very good. Still got too much light in here. What is the deal? Amazing how bright it is. So yeah, I'm a little bit under the weather right now, but hey, Holly, how you doing? Has it slowed down a little bit? I remember when my mom passed, I was the executor, and I had all the responsibility. So it was pretty nonstop for a couple of weeks, that's for sure. And you know, it was almost a good distraction in some ways, but sad at the same time. But we've been praying for you and thinking about you. It looks like we got a lot of people here already. You guys really were waiting for me, weren't you? Yeah, I thought we'd talk about capoing, but I may morph it if I'm feeling up to it into modulations. Changing keys, modulating a song, and that's one of those things that confuses a lot of people. And it is kind of one of those things that's kind of hard to explain. So I'll see what I can do. Explain how to do it. And I'm not talking about modulations within a song, like say a Barry Manilow song, which will change keys like 5 times. For guitar players hate that. I mean, if you're going to do a key change in a song, if guitar players do it, they always just do a whole step. They won't go a half step. So, it's not too difficult to go from the key of, say, G to the key of A. But to go from G to A flat, now you're going from open chords to bar chords. And sonically, there's such a radical difference between the open chords and the bar chords, it just doesn't sound very good. So most guitar players, if they even ever transpose, I'm talking about like if you're doing an original song, guitar players writing don't typically transpose. If you'll notice, it's oftentimes the piano player writers. Marvin Hamlish would transpose quite a bit, but Barry Manilow was kind of famous for that. So, it looks like we got a lot of people here. Aslan, Bob Schumann's in the house, Gary Book, and Wendy, and Joseph, Holly, and Bruce. Is Dennis here yet? I haven't seen Dennis. Gary. Did I say Gary already? Yeah, No, there's that roller capo. I don't actually have one of those, but can I? No, I can't do it. I did something. I messed up the interface on OBS, and now I can't figure out how to put it back the way it was. But it has. I don't think it changes what you see, just what I see. Oh, hey, John, good to see you. But yeah, most guitar players aren't going to transpose, and yeah, if you did, you know, in the middle of a song, you know, it's just not very common for guitar songs written by guitar players. I can't even think of one at this moment. But like I said, piano players, no problem. They don't have a problem doing it. I don't know if Billy Joel did it. Elton John, not too much. No, Barry Manilow and Marvin Hamlish. If you can think of one. Hey, Martin or Martian Murray, what's going on? But transposing does come in handy when something's in a bad key for you. Now, there is no such thing as a bad key. In other words, you can't say, oh, C is always too high for me. That's not true. You can't really say, oh, the key of G never works for me. I always have to go to F or something. That's like, well, that's not true. So that there is no correlation between your vocal range and key. Your vocal range is based on pitch, not key. All right. So let's say your comfortable vocal range is C to C. Well, C to C can pretty much fit in any key. You know, it could be C major, or F, or G, or E flat. I'm just playing different modes of C that correlate to different major keys. And so those would be, if the song is in, excuse me, if the song's notes in any one of those keys is between the C's, it could be in the key of E flat. And if the melody goes from C to C, then you won't have a problem singing that in E flat. But you might have a problem if we transpose that up to F. You would be D to D then. But your range, your vocal range, which you should probably have a vague idea of what it is. I mean, I'm comfortable going like G to D. But G's awful low. You know, you're not going to hear a lot of people. And that's believe it or not, you know, people, oh, I've got a 5-octave range. Well, they really have a 4-octave and a range potentially. So a 5-octave range would be, here's 1 octave, here's 2 octaves, here's 3 octaves. So, but if you went to the next note up there, you could maybe say you have a 4-octave range plus a half step because you're resolving that 4th octave, I guess. But Joseph, you inspired an Paul Simon gone deaf in left ear. I'm pretty deaf in my left ear too, and blind in my left eye. So my whole left side of my body doesn't work. Oh, thank you, Bruce. I can grab that. I guess we have a couple new people here, huh? So if you are interested in joining the Discord group, pretty much everyone you see in the chat is there. So you can hang out. Okay, I'm going to pin it so it's up there at the top. Yeah, so there's no correlation between key and your vocal range. Your vocal range is your vocal range. So, you know, G, I can hit that. D, I can hit that. I've gone to E. There was a song we did in church called Shout to the Lord, very popular song in the 2000s, early 2000s. I think the starting note was the lowest note. My Jesus, my Savior. Is it? No, it's a man. My Savior. Now, it was about as wide of a range as I would ever do with a congregation. Now, keep in mind, I was a worship leader for many years, believe it or not. It's been a long time since I've sung, let alone in public, and I haven't sung at all this morning. So, but when you're a worship leader, I mean, not all worship leaders do this. Most worship leaders, to be honest, just think about what key's good for them and not. And if you're a good singer and you have one, nobody has a 5-octave range. I mean, maybe Mariah Carey. I don't know what that means. 4-octave maybe, but 5. Anyway, my point is, if you're a good singer, then you can sing probably. If you've got a good range, there are no bad keys. Okay, there are keys that are your sweet spot where you sound the best, and most singers want to sound their best. But when I was leading worship, I always tried to keep songs in between a certain range. And granted, there are going to be people who, no matter where I sing, it's going to be bad. Like Beth, she's a tenor. My wife's a tenor. So any place I sing it, she could not sing a melody unless she sang it up an octave, and she didn't like the sound of her voice up there. And so she would always harmonize in a tenor or alto range. She would harmonize below the sopranos. And so, you're going to alienate half the people when you do. But I'm very aware of vocal range when I would do songs. Often because my first band I ever had, I was not the lead singer. And I was writing for a guy that had a very high voice. At the time, it was the 80s, and all the male singers had high voices, so we had a lead singer that had a high voice. And so I would tend to write things that got up to the, I mean, I think of Roxanne. Is it? Put on your red light. Put on your red light. I mean, that's that D note there that I said I'm comfortable with. Sting is singing an octave above that. Now, he doesn't do it in that key anymore. In fact, he'll sing it down and put on your red light. Put on your red light. I mean, eventually you're just going to blow those pipes out, especially if you're not trained singer. And so I would write songs with high male vocal parts. And then when Beth was the lead, when I had a band with Beth, I would write things in her range. So I was always very aware of singers' ranges when I was writing songs. And so that's where it comes in handy knowing how to transpose, because that way you can put a song into your range or to the singer who you're accompanying. Now, the complicating thing is, and so we're probably going to we may get into the Nashville numbering system, but what I would suggest you do is to create kind of a pseudo spreadsheet, all right? You could easily do this where you just go through all the keys. You can do C. I mean, I would concentrate on the most common keys. Like C, I'll write them down. The keys that you can work towards memorizing the chords in, okay? And I'll show you why in a second here. Okay, so let me add up. Man, I really messed up this. I'm not sure what I did, but all right. C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat. I would say those are the most common keys, just off the top of my head. Okay. Now, so what you could do is you can create a spreadsheet, and in that spreadsheet you can write out the 6 main chords. All right. You can in order. All right. So for example, let me do this again, another text thing. We'll do the key of C. C would be, the one chord is C, then D minor, then E minor, then F, then G. Oops, sorry. I was killing a bug. There was a bug on my keyboard. I pushed the G hard enough to kill the bug, but I pressed V at the same time. Okay. A minor. All right. So this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chord. Okay, the 7 chord is actually a diminished chord. You're not probably going to use the 7 chord. You might use something like G over B or something. That would be very common. But what you want to be able to do, if you do a diagram, like a chart, and you can put at the top, you can put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, you could do, I think the Nashville numbering system, like if I were to write it out. Okay, I'm going to do this again. Let's see. Let's move this over. Sorry. Move this over here. If I were to write that out kind of in Nashville numbering system, it would look, I think, it would look something like, for in the key C, it would be 1, 2 minor, 3 minor, 4, 5, 6 minor, okay? But another way it might, I don't think they do this, but I would generally use a capital I, then small case i's for minor. You'll often see this in like music education things where they'll be like using Roman numerals, 1, 4, 5, okay? Sorry, no, that's really big and annoying. I'm going to turn off that light behind me because that's blanching too much. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Now, it doesn't really matter how you write these out. It's up to you. Dealer's choice, right? I think in Nashville they use the numbers. In like jazz, I think they tend to use the Roman numerals. Okay, so you guys, okay, this pertains, I keep grabbing the wrong thing. This pertains to this over here, all right? Going the wrong way. Okay, can you see those down there? See, I can't do black, but I could change the font color to like orange or something. Okay, so if we were to do a 2-5-1 progression, okay, the minorness of the 2 chord is implied. So it would be D minor, G, C, 2-5-1. All right. What would be a 1-4-5 progression? So in other words, what chords are 1-4-5 in the key of C? And somebody will write this. I have legs. I've got legs. I know how to use them. Also got sinuses that are just like, oh, I took some meds, but man. Woo! Okay, I'm a little lightheaded. And pants, yeah. Bruce, I'm wearing pants. And I have legs. Maybe I don't have legs. I mean, you saw the pants, but did you see the legs? Oh, John, God bless you. Okay, so somebody going to give me, yeah, CFG. Thank you, Martian Murray. Good job. CFG, that's a 1-4-5 progression, okay? All right, so imagine if you had a chart that you made, and this is the key. You could download these charts, right? You could totally find these charts online. I wouldn't do that. In fact, what I would do is I would make the chart yourself. I would use those keys there. How many keys is that? 7 keys. You can do all the keys, but really concentrate on the keys you're most likely to use. If you never play in B flat or you don't think you'll ever need it, or F, then do the caged chords, the caged keys, C, A, G, E, D. Do those, start with those 5 because you're a guitar player. It makes the most sense. Start with those 5 chords, those 5 keys, sorry, and write them down there, and then write out the 1 chord, the 2 chord, the 3 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord, and the 6 chord. Okay? And then you know what I'm going to tell you to do? You're going to write out this, you're going to create a chart on a piece of paper, throw it away, burn it, tear it up, throw it in the trash. Do it again. Okay, throw that one in the trash. Maybe find 5 different ways you can destroy a piece of paper. Okay? And then the sixth way, by the time you do it the sixth way, you're probably going to have all those chords memorized. If you just download a PDF and go, okay, here they all are, that doesn't really help you that much. The goal here is to you're going to do two tasks, okay? For transposing, you're going to take the existing key, whatever that is, you're going to break it down to numbers, the existing chord progression, okay? Let's say we're doing a 50s song, and the chord progression in the key of C. This is good stuff right here, man. Come on, man. This is good stuff. John recognizes it. Okay. So we're in the key of C, all right? And the chord progression is bum ba da ba bum ba da ba 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 bum ba ba ba. I don't even know if I'm close. I'm not close to the key of C because that's bum ba da do. No, I was in F. But anyway. Okay. So this is our chord progression. All right? Now, Marcia and Murray, what's the number correlation there? Well, I'm asking you to do the opposite of what you just did before. I said 1, 4, 5 progression. You correctly stated C, F, G. So the chord progression is C, A minor, F, G. Give me the numerical value of that. And you can do it in Nashville method, or you can do it in traditional music theory method with the Roman numerals. It doesn't really matter to me. Yes. Yeah, and I don't know. It's just like, I was at the Hollywood Bowl last night. 1, 6, 4, 5, exactly right. Okay? Now you've got a math equation. And now you go to your diagram and you go, well, C is too high for me. I think I could sing this song in the key of A. What's this 1, 6, 4, 5 in the key of A? Okay, well, the one chord is going to be A, right? Well, let's look at the chords in the key of A. I'm just going to write them out for you. I'm not going to make you figure them out. All right, but I'm going to have so much notation on this, or so much text on this thing. But the key of A, the one chord is A, then B minor, then C sharp minor. Whoops, C sharp. Oh, sorry, B, not B flat. B minor, C sharp minor, D, E, F sharp minor. Those are the main chords, not all the chords. We're not getting the seventh chords. These are just the basic triads in the key of A, all right? But again, this is going to be so many of the songs you know are going to be using these basic chords. Very good, John. Exactly right. A, F sharp minor, D, and E. All right? So you might be able to play that progression. So here it is the song's too high in the key of C. It's like it's got a G in it. And that's, again, here's the thing. There are no bad keys for you, right? Because if the range of this song in the key of C were from C to C, you'd probably be fine. All those notes, from C to C, yeah, they're in my range, they're fine. But if the top note is G, oops, you'd be like, you sound like I sound like right now. You sound awful. Okay, you might be. I don't know how you'd sound, but anyway, yeah, F sharp minor. I knew what you meant, John. And I'm fine with you kind of simplifying it, not having to write the M, but it's not that hard to hit a lowercase m. So. But yeah, so with this, so in other words, you would have a chart where you'd have all the chords, the 6 chords in the key of C, the 6 chords in the key of D, the 6 chords in the key of E, do G and A, and if you want, do F and B flat, because those, the keys of G, D, A, and E are the sharp keys above C. The flat key right below C is F. The one below that is B flat. And so those are also very common because they're right next to the key of C, right? As far as sharps and flats go. Yeah, it's probably, this one's gonna, so A, so our song was too high here. But in A, I do? I went. It's still high for me, so I might go down another. I might go if I, instead of the key of C, I might go down to G or something. That would be. Oops. But basically, what you do is you just you just take the song in the bad key, take the chords and break them down into a numerical value, and then go to another key, look those chords up in the new key, try those chords and see if you can sing it in that key, and Also doesn't hurt to find the starting pitch on the guitar. Like in the case of that G note, that high G note in the key of C, that's 5 notes up from C, okay? So remember that in fact, that's a very common thing to know. I've seen that actually written in charts, on rhythm charts, where there's no melody, but it'll have a little, in quotes, it'll say starting pitch A or starting pitch C or G or whatever. Just because you want to be like, ping, give the singer the starting note. I've seen that before. That's not uncommon. So to know what the starting note is, that helps you when you transpose it to get going, because that's the hard thing. Because C and G are relatively similar keys. So like your melody, that's too high for you. You transpose down to G and you think, oh, okay, I'll play in G. Wait. You try to sing the same, it's the same. No, the whole point of you transposing the song is so that you can sing it lower. So you go, oh, wait, that's 5 notes up in the key of C, so I could go 5 notes up in the key of C, G, and now I have the starting note. La, 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 la. It's a La La song, all right? It's from La La Land. So I was at the Hollywood Bowl last night, which I felt fine, okay last night, but when I'm around people, I tend to not feel sick. I don't care how sick I am. Once I'm around people, I'm like, and infecting them. I just don't notice it. I don't know what it is. So I always tell people I steal other people's energy. I'm one of those people, and yet I spend most of my days alone in a house working and with no energy. And I get around people and I get their energy. Clockwise is fifths, yes, and counterclockwise is fourths for flat keys. Yeah, you can think of it that way, totally. Yep. So, if you're starting on C, yeah. If you're starting on G, or if you're starting on D, going down a fourth, you still have a sharp key, but you're losing a sharp. But yes, if you start on C, extroverted, exactly, Aslan. I think, definitely extroverted. Type A personality, maybe, I don't know. Type A's are real go-getters. Am I a go-getter? I guess I'm a go-getter. I mean, that's why I went to Hollywood Bowl last night. It was the Game Music. It was a Game Awards music concert. So it was a bunch of game scores that were being played, like 10 different pieces of music from games, video games. Amazing how many games are out there and how many composers are out there. So I saw 3 of the composers that I work for on a regular basis and heard some of their music. So it was kind of a schmooze opportunity, but it was fun, and I got garden seats, so I was sitting right in the front, and I had a table, and I could eat and all that. It was fun. So, but yeah. So that's kind of one of the tricks to transposing, is to break the progression down to numbers. Let's do it. Let's do another one. Let me see. Like a really common pop progression. I'm going to get rid of this one here. I'm going to change this. Let's see. So we're going to be in the key of G. We go E minor, C, G, D. All right. So What is the numeric value of that progression, that G progression right there? E minor, C, G, D. Very common chord progression. Very common in the 90s. I tend to think of like little 4-chord chord progressions almost to be very, I don't want to say generational, almost more decade specific. Like that 1, 6, 4, 5 is very 50s, kind of carried a little bit into the 60s. But then the Beatles kind of broke that mold. But, you know, But then, you know, the 50s came back in the 80s and you had... Martin, you're right, except the 1. The 1 is just... That first letter is just a key, just to give you a key. So the first chord in that progression is E minor. So you're right, 6, 4, 1, 5. Yep. Yep. And John, you don't need, if you're going to use Roman numerals, you don't need the minor, just the 6 in small case. Six, 4, yeah, 6, 4, 1, 5. That's right. So let's say that is too high for us, and we want to take it to the key of E. All right, well, we need to know the chords in the key, the 6 main chords in the key of E, correct? So let me change this. All right, I'm going to get rid of all of this. And here are the 6 main chords. And you know, you may get ahead of me on this and figure it out before I get to the finish line here. But there are the 6 main chords in the key of E. Sorry, it's kind of hard to read. Ba-dum-bum. Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, so the 1, ignore, sorry, I thought I'm, here. In other words, here's our progression. We're in the key of G. I could do this, go key, G. And here's the chord progression, all right? Does that help? Okay, John, get back to work. Pull that tooth. John's a dentist, but we love him anyway. Okay, so our chord progression in the key of G was, you know, so, oh, man. Such a hard time. So our chord progression was that was our chord progression in the key of G. So 6, 4, 1, 5. So in the key of E, what would that be? Well, the 6 chord, if we look at the 1 chord is E, the 2 chord is F sharp minor, the 3 chord is G sharp minor, the 4 chord is A, the 5 chord is B, and the 6 chord, the minor 6 chord, is C sharp minor. So that's going to be our first chord because we broke that progression in, and you got it right. It was 6, 4, 1, 5, right? 6, 4, 1, 5. So that's the numeric value of that progression. So if we were going to do that in the key of E, the 6 chord is C sharp minor, the 4 chord is A, the 1 chord is E, and the 5 chord is B, okay? Well, I might play that with cheater chords. So here's our... okay, that's in the key of G. That's too high for me, let's say, in this scenario. So now we're in the key of E, and we're starting with a C sharp minor. I'm going to use this cheater. All I'm doing is sliding a power chord around, basically. I'm hitting. I love that. C sharp minor 7 chord, then A2. And I'm going up to like E5. I can hit all 6 there. And I'm going like a B sus. So the top 2 strings are always open on all 4 of those chords. Now, if I wanted it to be pure, like, see, you know, you got that pesky B chord. So you'd have a bar chord potentially on the 6 chord and the 5 chord. You could play an open A for the 4 chord and open E for the 1 chord. But hey, pink elephant. Okay, yeah, Zombies by the Cranberries. Cranberries, that was, yeah, probably. But that's the same chord progression, and that's better. So let's say the chord progression, this one was like, the melody note was E to C, no, E. Right, that's pretty high. So if I transpose that down, so now if I'm playing on C sharp, now my melody is. So I've transposed down, in this case, a minor third. What you should probably do when you do you make your chart that I was telling you about, like do it in like the order of, go from C to D to E to G to A kind of thing, so that you can kind of see, like C is here and then D's a little higher and then E's a little higher than that and G's higher than that and A's higher than that, and then you can even end up with C at the bottom if you want. If you have C at the bottom, you can go, oh, okay, C's too high for me, so I can go down, you know, go up the chart, and you go to, oh, key of A is lower, key of G is lower, key of E is even lower, D would be way lower or higher. Now, once you get to D, you're a whole step above the original. So, and sometimes songs are too low for you, and if they're too low, then you want to move them up. So the same thing can apply. We can do the exact same calculations. If the key of E is too low, and if the song is 6, 4, 1, 5, then you can go to the key of G and go, maybe G is a better key for me. What's the 6? Oh, that's E minor. What's the 4? Oh, okay, C. And what's the 1? Oh, that's G. Oh, what's the 5? Okay, that's a D. So now you're transposing from the key of E up to the key of G. All right? You know, generally transpositions are going to be, you know, you're either going to go down a fifth or as much as a fourth or a fifth, yeah, you know, or up as much as a fourth or a fifth. You're not going to, you wouldn't necessarily go up a seventh. I don't know if you would go that much, you know. Basically, you can think of it as going down a whole step and singing it up an octave. So, and that's the other thing you can always do too. This does not have anything to do with transposing. Well, in some ways it does. You can always sing, and this is what you do if you're singing in church and the worship leader's way up there. You like sing an octave below. La, 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 la. You know, you sing down there, and that's what I do, and it sounds stupid, but I can't sing up high sometimes. So, your keyboard hates you. Or your keyboard was asking a question. So, yeah, that's typically when now, let's say you've got a piece of music, and I don't have anything like that, I don't think. I have a lot of music, but it's mostly just. Let's say you have a lyric sheet with chords written over it, all right? Now, you probably already could figure this out and do it on your own. But let's say it's just a simple 4 chords, you know, C, A minor, G, and F, or something like that. But it mixes up a little bit, but it's still those 4 chords. And you want transpose down a whole step. Well, what you can do, say, not a whole step. Let's say you're going to transpose down to A from the key of C. So you do your calculation. The C in the new key would be A. The F in the new key would be D. The G in the key of C would become E. And the A minor in the key of C would now become, in our new key of A, would be F sharp minor. All right? So we have our new keys. Okay. Well, then what you do is you go through your chart, and every C, you cross it out and you write an A. So just do all those C's, get those turned into all A's. Don't read through the chart and do it this way. Just go and grab all those C's, change them to A. Grab all the F's, change those to D. Grab all of the G's and change all of those to E's. And then change all of the A minors to F sharp minors throughout the whole chart. And now you're done. It's a little bit of a shorthand, quicker way to do something. You probably already know that. You probably would have figured it out. After you did the third chart, you go, wait, I should just, instead of having to do the calculation every time I see a chord, I just go spy all the C chords and change them all to A's. See? See your comment earlier. Oh, Dennis. You talking to Dennis or me? Okay. So, now I famously, I say, I will say, don't transpose, learn the new capos, okay? Learn a new position when we're talking about capoing. All right, well, that's, so, now, again, if you're playing, if you've memorized the song, and particularly I'm talking about finger memory, like if you've memorized a song and it's, let me get rid of some of this stuff here. I don't need all of these. Okay. Say we're playing. That's our song. Let's just say it's a 4-chord song. You're just thinking you're in the key of G. And the singer goes, "Hey, can you take that down a little bit?" But you're not in the key of G. Just so you know, you're technically in the key of C. But that's irrelevant. The singer says, "Oh, that's a little high. Can you take it down like?" How far? Oh, try a half step. Okay. Boom, take it down a half step. Kind of one of the advantages of starting with the capo somewhere up here, it's easy to take it down. Like if you're in open position and you're playing, and they say take it down a whole step, you're like, what? And I guess you could go to the capo at the 10th fret. Now because you technically took the 12th fret down to the 10th fret. Now you're down a whole step. But it sounds like you're playing mandolin. So that's where learning how to transpose and use the kind of Nashville numbers system to break things down into numbers, and then analyze what you have, break them down to numbers, find the key that's good, and then build it back from those numbers, okay? It's like deconstructing, constructing. It's kind of like that kind of thing. It's like taking apart a watch and putting it back together again, but a lot easier. But if you're playing the capo up high and somebody says lower, as long as if you have the chords memorized, your fingers know where to go or whatever, if you're, Of course, the key of that song is in the key of, it's an F, right? No, is it? No, is it? No. So that song is in the key of F, kind of, because he uses like a G major chord in it, so it kind of moves around. Did I just drop a pick inside my guitar? Unbelievable. Yes, I did. Let's see. Where are you? Slippery little sucker. Go on. Ah! Okay, I'll get it later. So what I suggest doing is when somebody says, "Oh, I want to put a capo, I want to play here, and this is G, but it's up a third, it's a minor third, so that's really B is a major third, B flat. That's really a B flat." It's a lot of work to transpose in your head on the fly, and if you can write the chart. I've told this story before, I think, but I used to play guitar for a guy named Fernando Ortega, a really good singer, songwriter, worship leader. I did worship with him, did some live gigs with him too, like his songs. Hey, Brad, what's going on? Yeah, no, it doesn't happen very often. But we were doing worship at a church in Fullerton, and I think like the sound check was at like 5 or something, and the service was probably at 6. I don't know. Let's just say 5 and 6. Okay, so we'd show up around 5 o'clock, and he'd hand out the charts, and I'd get the charts. And as soon as I got the charts, like, he loved the key of F and B flat, even E flat. He loved flat keys. He's a piano player. And it was me on acoustic guitar, a piano player, Fernando on piano, and then a guy playing cello. Usually the three of us. So, and I'd play mandolin too sometimes, but kind of where I learned to play mandolin, actually. So his songs are being the key of F, and I'm like, I don't want to play F chords, and at the time I had my Gibson Dove. It's a big body, big neck. It's a lot of work. My hands would get tired, even though I was young. I was a kid. For F, I would typically capo at the 3rd fret and play in the key of D, use D shape. So what I would have to do is I'd go through the chart, and every time it said F, I'd put a D. Every time it said B flat, I'd put a G. Every time it said C, I'd put an A, and so on and so forth. Now, where it gets a little tough sometimes is with the slash chords. Like if it said F over A, I'd have to put D over F sharp, right? I have to transpose twice, the root note and the bass note, or the root chord, the chord name, and the bass chord, bass note. Sorry, you know what I mean. So it might be a little work. Okay, so I would do that, and I got really good. Like I said, I would go through and get all the Fs and change them all to Ds. I'd get all the, I'd get all the Cs and change them to whatever, to As. And then he'd have a song in A flat or E flat. And so typically for A flat and E flat, I would capo at the 1st fret. It's because A flat would be like playing in the key of G, and E flat would be like playing in the key of D. So those are both friendly, my happy keys, the keys I'm happy to play in, G and D. So I would always capo so that I would get to my happy keys. But one Saturday night, 5 o'clock rolled around. I'm all ready to go. I got everything, but Fernando's not there. And then 5:30 rolls around. No Fernando. This is before cell phones, so it's kind of like, where's Fernando? And they're asking me, could you lead worship? And I'm like, maybe. I don't have any music. I don't know what to do. And so about 5:50, Fernando runs in. I forget what happened. He got stuck in traffic, got a flat tire. I don't remember. Pulled over speeding. I don't know. I have no idea what happened to Fernando. He probably, if I asked him, he wouldn't remember this at all. But I remember it because he threw the charts on my music stand, and we've got 10 minutes, and I don't have time to go through all those charts and make all those changes. And the first song, of course, was in the key of F. And I'm like, oh, Fernando. And I'm like, gosh, I'm going to have to transpose on the fly. I'm going to have to go, okay, D. What's D? D is F. Okay. It goes to B flat. What's B flat? G. Okay. But I didn't. I looked at my fretboard and I went, wait a minute. I know this is an F chord. In other words, if I played this chord, I'd know that was an F. This is a D shape. I know it's a D shape, but I knew that was an F chord. I didn't think I was as smart as I thought I was. I didn't realize I was smart as I was. Let me put it that way. I was like, wait, that's F. That's B flat. Wait, there's C. C sus. C sus 7. What? I know all these chords. Why was I going, because I was a student of the guitar. I knew my fretboard. I knew harmony. I knew theory. I actually knew all those. And so that was kind of my thing, is like, wait a minute, don't transpose, just know those chords. So if somebody hands you a chart in the key of F, you should be able to play at the 3rd fret using D shapes. I'm admitting that we're technically using the chords in the key of D to make our key of F, but the capo is allowing us to transpose that so that we can play it much easier than having to play a 1, 6, 4, 5 in the key of F. What a pain in the butt. I mean, we have part of the problem with that also. Part of the problem with a key like F is like, okay, we're going to want to take any open chord we can, right? So if it's 1, 6, 4, 5, right? We got an F chord bar, we got a D chord, D minor open, we got a B flat chord bar, and we've got a C chord open. So what you're doing is you're kind of mixing bar chords with open chords. It's kind of like me talking, like every other word I cover my mouth with my hand so that you can barely, it's that bar chords sound a little darker because there's no open, ringy, chimey strings, less overtones. And then you go to open chords and they're all ringy and bright and open, and all it does is point out how bad your bar chord sounds, right? It's like, dang it, my bar chord just, I'm not killing it, especially the, here he is, right there. Sorry, I got a work thing. Okay, so that's why I suggest when you're working with capos, all right, if one of the best reason to capo is to get out of keys that are bad. And so if I'm playing, yeah, I still got a B minor chord in here, but having a bar chord on a minor chord almost sounds appropriate. But like. And I could do a substitute minor. I mean, imagine if James Taylor wrote Fire and Rain in the key of F without a capo, it probably wouldn't have been a hit. He was like... Well, and then he goes to a G chord. Yeah, it would have been awkward. He wouldn't have played it very well. He might have been struggling with it, and the listener would be able to tell. But having the capo at the 3rd fret, would be no problem. So. A capo at the 3rd fret, and all those chords just tend to ring and chime and sound good. So I tend to capo where I think that it's going to sound the best. I could play, like if I wanted to, I could capo at the 10th fret and use G shapes. G shapes always sound great, right? You got G minor, C, D. Those are all great sounding chords. The problem is it would be up here in mandolin territory. It wouldn't sound very good. So D is the kind of the next best option. You've got your D chord. You got the 4 chord, which is a G shape. You got the A shape, which is the 5 chord. And then the B minor chord, which is the 6 shape. So what I suggest you do is, and again, I don't suggest, just like I told you, just pick the keys you're most likely to play in down here and do your chart for those of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chords. With capo, same thing. It's like, you know what? Just spend a month on memorizing the chords at the 3rd fret with the capo. All of them, like as many chords as you can find in there. Not just the chords in the key of F, but we have F, we have B flat, we have C, B minor would be this, but you can do some fun substitutions for that B minor or that D minor. Okay, that's G minor, G major, G7. Okay, eventually what'll happen is you'll start to see that as an F chord. You won't think of it as a D chord up a minor 3rd. Does that make sense? Now, I would say fire rain's the key of F, not the key of A. See, I mean, I guess. Yeah, maybe you okay. It's C pseudo mixolydian major, but F because it goes. The thing that throws me is it starts on the 1 chord that goes to it starts on the 5 chord and it goes to the 2 chord. So yeah, I guess it's probably closer to being in the key of C than the key of F. But my point being that he's using F, the chords that would be in the key of F, like B flat and G minor, but he also plays a G major, which is in the key of C. The way to test how is a song going to end or what key it's in is what does he end it on? What's the last going? He ends on the C sus7, which is really not a C major chord. That's not a chord. It would be in the key of C. It would be a key in the F. So I think he doesn't really. He ends on that, which is I've never heard him play it live, but I'm pretty sure that's how he ends it. It just kind of ends on that chord, which creates kind of a mysterious quality, kind of unresolved quality to it, which is really nice. But going to that 1 chord, ultimately. That chord wants to go to the F chord, which would tell me that the song's in the key of F, even though he's using a G chord in there, and even though he starts on A chord. But yeah, keys can be nebulous because you could say that this is in the key of A. All those songs that use that E to A to D chord progression, you can say, well, that song's in the key of A, but it really never would you end any of those. You would never end them on the A chord. You would always end them on the E chord. So it's really kind of the song where you could say is, oh, it's in the key of E mixolydian. pouring out. So I'm probably going to have to cut out here in a minute because Give Me Love is capo 3. Okay. Yeah, there's so many songs at capo 3. And George Harrison used them a lot. He used capo 7 for, was it capo 7 for... You know, and that's technically we're in the key of what, A there. So it's like, well, why you could totally play A. Well, no, probably what happened was he was capoing up high and he was just kind of messing around and he came up with that lick and it was like, it sounds great up there, right? It doesn't sound, you know, it's like, here comes the sun. You know, it's just like, oh, okay, here comes the sun. You know, and up here it sounds like, here comes the sun. I'm thinking of George Carlin right now. I don't know why. Comparing football and baseball. Kind of sounds like a high-strung guitar or something. But the other thing about that was that it sounded different. If he had done it in the same chords, but in the key of, you know, and done it in the key of A and went to D and E, it would just sound like a lot of other songs. Even though that was a very simple, at this point, 1, 4, 5, 1 progression. I can't remember it's been forever. Tired. So, like I said, I'm lightheaded because I have a sinus infection. So I probably have to go do, A, I have to get that pick out of my guitar. And then B, I have to go do the neti pot thing, which is always fun. It's like, oh, my brain. So, and then I got some work stuff I got to take care of too. So, but I hope you're all well. Let's see. What did we get up to? I think we did better than last week. Last week it was kind of lean. We got up to 27. It's not bad. I would love to build it back up to, 50, but I'm probably going to have to do more than one day a week to get that kind of viewership. Well, and I finally got to the end of the mandolin video. Now I have to go and make sure, because there's a million diagrams in it. And of course I put drop shadow on the diagram. So now I have to make sure all the diagrams have drop shadow. And then I have to make sure that the crossfades they're crossfades in the right plot spots and stuff like that. So make sure I spelled everything right. So it's a 30-minute video. I don't know if you'll get through it, but it is a kind of a cool video. I probably could have broken it up into 3 videos. But it is a pretty good overview if you really want to kind of pick up the mandolin. I think it's a video where you could watch 10 minutes of it and then work on those things and then, re-watch the first 10 minutes and the next 10 minutes and the next 10 minutes. It'll be one of those. But it basically, the point is that any guitar player should be able to play mandolin without too much of a problem. So, thank you, Holly. I hope you're feeling good. Hopefully your family's gathering around you. You're getting spend some time with family and everything, and that's always healing. Well, for some of us. Yeah, no, I love my family. Don't get me wrong. But I know. Potluck. I don't like potlucks. It is potlucks are potlucks to me. I've never been a fan of the potluck because I don't know the LA County rating of everyone's kitchen, and I guarantee you most of them aren't A's. So I've seen some of your kitchens and they're not all A's. So, no, Brad, yours is an A. I'm not talking about you. I'm being facetious here. Yeah, so Sam, if you don't have a mandolin yet, yeah, and you can pick up a cheap mandolin. I'll put some links down below where you can pick up, a Fender mandolin for maybe a couple $100 or something like that. You could probably even get like a Rogue mandolin for $100. You could probably find one on like I wouldn't get a round back mandolin, like an old timey round back mandolin. They tend to kind of fall over. But a flat back mandolin is always the better way to go. The round backs are kind of harken back to like Renaissance and like you're going to a Renaissance fair or something like that. So, dang, till 11 tornadoes. Yeah, well, my wife's in Indiana right now, so I'm hoping she's okay. They're actually going to be going tomorrow. They're going to a lake, and they're going to go boating on a lake and stuff like that. So, but yep, Holly, we were lighting a candle. That's right. Yeah, thank you, Holly. I will try to feel better. I mean, I felt great last night. I felt bad. It's like I didn't feel good yesterday afternoon. I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to go. And I'd spent all this money for the ticket to be sitting, in the area where all my friends were sitting. So I was like, oh, I need to go to this thing. And when I got there, I felt fine the whole time. I was pretty much like talking to people, and the show was great. It was really, really good. So, in fact, I need to send. Let me see if that thing showed up in Dropbox. Where's Dropbox? I don't see it. Wait, where's camera uploads? I uploaded. I guess I didn't finish uploading. Camera uploads. Here we go. Wow. Okay, it's not there. All right, so I'll figure this out. Anyway. Oh man. Well, now we got people showing up. What's going on? Everybody, you showing up? Hey, Catherine. I was just getting ready to. Oh, you had a huge thunderstorms too. Yeah, it's crazy. And Kathy Short's here. All the ladies are showing up now, and I'm getting ready to log out. Well, go back and watch this video. Actually, I shared some good stuff about transposing, how to transpose. Basically, again, just to recap, what I talked about earlier was you take the chord progression you have, and you're like, it's too high. Okay, well, C, A minor, F, G. That's a 1, 4, 5. So you break it down, or 1, 6, 4, 5. You break it down into the numerical value, and then you go and figure out and what I suggested was making a chart with all the main keys you tend to use. Down here, C, D, E, F, G, A, and B flat. And you go, C's too high, but, maybe B flat would be a better key. Oh, okay, if I look at my B flat, okay, the 1 chord is B flat, the 6 chord is G minor, the 4 chord is E flat, and the 5 chord is F. And that, now you've got the new key. Now, whether you're going to capo that or not, that's dealer's choice. We'll talk more about this next week. In fact, maybe what I'll do is see, again, I told you to make that chart and then throw it away, and then make it again and throw it away, and then make it again and burn it, and then make it again and throw it. No, don't throw it in the wind, but, destroy it. Do it about 5 times, delete them all, and then do it again. And by the 6th time, you're probably going to have all the main chords and those keys memorized. It's kind of, when they were trying, like back in, like I was taking Bible classes, you had to memorize long passages of scripture. And one of the ways to do it was to say the passage 3 times aloud, then write it 3 times, and then say it 3 times aloud, and you would generally have it here. It was kind of like, there's just a certain, and that's kind of what I'm saying, is like, just write it out a few times and then throw it away, or you can keep it. I don't care. You can do whatever you want. But basically, write it out a few times, and now you've got this chart you can reference, but you probably won't have to. It'll all be up here. All right? So go back and watch the video if you can, and I got to go back. I'm going to do it right now. Go to the other video from last week and remove all the ads. I apologize. I don't add those ads in there. I mean, I intend to add an ad, but not that many. Let's see. Content here. So last week's live probably has 1 million ads, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, nope. There we go. And spin rolls. Oh, nope. Doesn't. Cool. All right. So last week is golden. But yeah, last week was just kind of chit-chatty because I was out of town when we got back. But okay. So I'll see you next Monday, Lord willing, and we'll try to expound on this even further, or maybe I'll test you on it more. I love testing you on it. I wish there wasn't like a 30-second lag from when you type to when I see it. It's kind of like from when you hear me talk to when you reply to when I see your reply. It's about a 30-second lag. So everybody's going to start. You guys can hang out here for a little bit after I hit end stream. It automatically keeps going for a couple minutes. But then you can pick it up at the Discord. The link is up there at the top if you so desire. Okay? God bless you. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.